What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showcasing 10 different tips that will instantly improve your gameplay in Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege. Starting off with number 1, shooting glass off windows. So you've probably seen people like Jinxie or your friends shoot glass off of windows, and they do this for a reason. They're not doing it because they're schizos, alright? They're doing it because it makes sound more clear. So let me give you an example real quick. This is what it sounds like when the glass is shot. And this is what it sounds like when the glass is not shot. When the glass is shot, you can clearly hear anyone that's repelled outside. But when the glass is not shot, even if someone's repelled, you can't hear anything. Moving on to tip numero dos. So a lot of people don't know that if you repel on a window and the glass is not broken, you can make a small slit through it without breaking the glass, which gives you some very free kills because, as I mentioned earlier, the glass acts as a soundproof barrier. For this next tip, you're going to need to use C4s and proximity mines on sentry. You're going to need a shotgun open the floorboard for any doorway or window or entrance, then place your proximity mines in the floorboard. Once you're done, go below to place your C4. Now everything's set. All you gotta do is wait for the proximity mine to go off. It's going to give you 5 score, then just blow it up. This strat also works to counter plants because all you gotta do is just place it on defaults. Here's a clip of me using it for countering the default plant. Alright, moving on. Tip number 4. Play intel operators.
Why should I play intel operators if I can just use a gun with a 2.5 scope and gun everyone down?
I'm glad you asked, Lil Timmy. Let me explain why you should start using intel ops in Siege. In Siege, gathering intel is extremely crucial for winning a round. If you have information on your enemy's movements, whereabouts, strats, ops, etc., then you can pretty easily guess and predict what they're going to do, right? And you can figure out how to counter those strats. So stop being greedy and only playing operators for the gun and start bringing utility to the team. And since we're already on the topic of intel, this leads us to tip number 5, capitalizing off the intel that you receive. So what is capitalizing off intel? Well, it's in the name. It's just capitalizing off the intel that you receive, right? So in this clip right here that's being played, I receive a comm that there's 3 people pushing in from lobby, right? So I decide to go push them out and flush them out. Then I receive a comm that rams on hatch room, so I swing ram. And solely because I decided to capitalize off the intel that I got from my teammates, I managed to fully flush out vert and won as the round. Moving on to tip number 6, simply just don't solo queue. Never solo queue ever. If you want to rank up, never solo queue. The only time you should ever solo queue is if you want to improve your gunplay. You're probably wondering, oh, why shouldn't I solo queue? Well, it's because your teammates are going to be actual bricks and they're not going to talk the entire time. Take it from me, bro. I've been playing the game for like a year and a half and I still managed to hit champion only like my 3rd season. So just don't solo queue. That's how you'll rank up. Moving on to tip number 7, apply ghost pressure.
What is ghost pressure?
Thank you, Lil Timmy, for coming in clutch with the question. So ghost pressure, in my opinion, is one of the most complicated concepts that you have to understand in Siege, and it's something that you can do in both attack and defense. So first I'm going to show how to properly utilize it on defense, while also trying my hardest to actually explain what it is, because it's like an actual weird abstract concept. Alright, so say you're defending Gym in Clubhouse. Gym has a lot of windows that look directly onto site, and a lot of people like to play on them. So how do you stop people from playing on those windows? Because those windows are power positions. So what you can do is apply something called ghost pressure. Now, what is ghost pressure? Ghost pressure is basically invisible pressure, right? It's pressure that you apply to either defenders or attackers that's not there. So you can make holes in walls and stuff that look directly over common angles that people play on, and people will get freaked out. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't going to play on those areas that you opened up, but it just means that they're going to have to waste time, right? If you open up that angle that I made in garage, people are going to get freaked out and they're going to end up having to drone the entirety of garage. And on attack, the timer works against people. They don't have the time to actually drone that out, right? So here's another example of ghost pressure in Clubhouse. So let's say you're playing on the basement bomb site in Clubhouse, right? All you need to do is make shotgun holes on the top in kitchen. So people get scared, they get paranoid, so now they're gonna have to drone out all of 2nd floor, and it's gonna slow down their vert take. You don't even have to necessarily play on it.
Moving on to applying ghost pressure on attack. So how do you do this? Well, it's basically the same exact thing as it is on defense, right? On defense, you want to open up different angles that make the attackers scared to push up, right? So this is what you do on attack, right? So for example, if you're pushing CC on Clubhouse, right, you can open up this angle right here, and then immediately cut off this rotate, so people are going to be scared to play up there, right? Cut off that entire tile, that entire side of the rafters, right? Then if you open this up, well, now people can't play here because they're going to get peeked from the door, right? Well, but if you open up the breach alongside that, people are gonna be even more scared, right? Because look at what happens if you open up the breach here. So look, he's gonna buck open his breach. So they have only a single angle that they can actually really sit at, and it's right there. That's the only safe part that they have. So just because you apply the ghost pressure here, right? Here they can't be shot from the bridge, they can't be shot from the door, they can't be shot from below, right? So just because you applied that ghost pressure, people are going to be scared, and they're going to be able to like only sit in certain angles because of basic positioning, right? So that's basically how you apply ghost pressure on attack, right? You just make defenders be scared to sit in different areas because they're open, right? They're vulnerable. Take advantage of the fact that people know how to use basic positioning for their advantage, right? So yeah, that's basically how you apply ghost pressure on attack.
Anyway, that's my explanation of ghost pressure. It's not exactly the best, but it works. Since ghost pressure is such an important skill, it's really important that you start mastering it early on. All right, moving on to tip number 8, which is in my opinion one of the most important thing if you want to reach a high level in Siege. Tip number 8 is refragging. Now, what is refragging? You've probably heard this term get thrown around before. Refragging is when the enemy team gets a kill and then your team gets one right after, resulting in a trade. This keeps not only your head count even, but it also keeps an even playing field throughout the match, which is necessary if you actually want to be able to make plays. So now that you know what refragging is, how do you actually get to get a refrag, right? How do you get into the position to be able to get a refrag after your teammate dies, right? Do you just swing everything or something? The answer is no, you don't. If you want to get a refrag, you should always play by your teammates. Playing by your teammates reduces the chance of either one of you guys die, meaning that it lowers the chance of you even having to go for a refrag in the first place. But even if you do play by your teammates, sometimes they will die. That's just how the game is. All right, then you're next to your teammate, you're playing by your teammates, so how do you actually get a refrag if they die? Well, since you're down a body now, the enemy team is going to start getting aggressive. So how do you counter that? It's simple. Just get aggressive back. You can apply pressure in many different ways, right? You can make a Dokkaebi call, you can line scan, you can pre-fire, you can drone something out, have a pre-placed drone, red ping, etc., right? There's many different ways to apply pressure. Making a lot of noise is one of them, right? There's so many different ways to apply pressure, but most of it just boils down to just being aggressive. If you get aggressive when they're up a body, they're going to expect the exact opposite reaction. They're going to expect you to play passive because now they're up a body, so they have the advantage. So they're going to try to aggress instead, and they're not going to expect you to start just full rushing them. So recap real quick, the way to get a refrag is playing by your teammates and playing aggressive after you're down a body. Tip number 9, learn and know when to be aggressive and when to be passive. So knowing when to be aggro and knowing when to be passive is something that usually comes with time, but there's a few rules of thumb that you could follow. So the first rule that you could follow is if you are down a body, say you're down 1 or 2 bodies, you should always be aggressive because that's how you get refrags. People expect you to play passive when you're down a body. People expect you to let them swing. So take advantage of that and start pushing up. The second rule / way you could use to know whether you should aggress or not is if you have intel on whoever you're trying to push, right? Or the area that you're trying to push. So say you're pushing chalet library side. One thing you could do is set a pre-placed cam in there during the prep phase. Then during the action phase, if you check the cam and there's somebody there, or if you drone out the room, if you drone top meds and there's nobody, that's when you aggress and take map control. Before we go on to tip 10, I'm going to showcase an honorable mention, the coastline nade lineup. The only way you can do this is by having an operator of grenades. So Finka, Sense, any of that works. So what you're going to want to do for this nade trick is you're going to want to rappel on the side of big window. Then once you're repelled, you're going to want to look at this specific angle in the sky, which I'm going to be showing you guys right now through my crosshair. Once you have this lined up, just chuck nades and you'll get a free pick on whoever's playing in cool vibes. Moving on to the very last tip number 10. So many people don't know that you can make a super small pixel that keeps you safe while watching Oil Pit. And all you need to do for it is to place a crouch soft mirror on the bottom left side of the arsenal double wall and then shoot the left side out. As you can see, this angle is super tight. If you made it this far into the video, I'm just going to throw in an extra bonus tip. Tip 11, this is a special spawn peek that you can only do on a gym. It's super safe and gets free kills. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you guys want a part 2, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video with like better tips because, you know, I know that some of these were a little bit lackluster, and it's because, you know, I'm saving some for a better video. Oh, and one last thing. Please, if you guys see any issues with this video or any like constructive criticism that you guys have, please let me know in the comments. That's about it. See you guys in the next video, hopefully.